Welcome to Networked. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, and today I'm excited to introduce you to a local company who is offering today's pet owners a modern take on pet ID tags. Founded in 2010, PetHub was the first company to launch a QR code ID tag with the capability of being linked to a free and secure pet profile, giving pet parents the ability to create custom profiles for locating and keeping track of their pet's information. Joining me in the studio today is PetHub co-founder and CEO, Lorien Clemens, to share more about PetHub, their mission, and some tips for lost pet prevention. Don't go too far, we'll be right back in studio. And welcome back to Networked. So excited to have our guest on air today, Lorien Clemens, CEO of PetHub. Thank you for joining me again.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is fun. When I got the call, it's like, heck yeah, I'll come on and talk.
I know. I mean, we were just talking off air that you were one of, if not the first guest I ever had on studio. At that time, you brought your dog Uller with you.
Yes.
So it was like a duo interview.
I know. They always say never perform with children or pets.
Yes.
And he actually did pretty well.
He was amazing.
He was,
Very stoic.
Yeah.
You know, not a big talker.
Yeah, my current dog would have not been that way, so she stayed home.
Stayed home. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have you back in
great
studio.
to be back.
So much has happened over the years with PetHub. Your company is really exciting. And
Yeah.
I want to tell our audience about that. But first, I would love to start with a little bit about you and your background. Just to
sure, yeah.
make sure our viewers get to know you as well.
Yeah,
the CEO behind PetHub.
Behind PetHub. Well, I would like to say I'm the newly CEO, but
Yes.
I realized I just had my 1-year anniversary, which, time flies when you're having fun.
Right. Congratulations.
But so I'm the current CEO and co-founder of PetHub. Before I even joined PetHub, I had a career in education. Before that, I had a career in professional acting. So wide and varied background. But Tom Arnold, my now husband, started PetHub in 2010. At the time, we were just dating, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come and do this cool thing with me to help pets?" And I said, "Sure, it sounds like fun." And then here we are.
Yeah. And 2010, let's go back to that.
Yeah.
You weren't in Wenatchee then.
No, we weren't.
Okay.
Although we have ties to Wenatchee area, Tom specifically. So Tom has owned a home in Wenatchee, over 20 years now.
Okay.
He was on ski patrol. He still's on ski patrol, volunteer ski patrol up at Mission Ridge. Owned a home here. So we started actually in our living room in Issaquah.
Okay.
Across
like most startups do.
Yeah, exactly.
Home base.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And our warehouse was our garage.
Right.
The first 6 years of PetHub was based in the Seattle area.
Yeah.
We actually, like all startups also, we went from place to place wherever we could find affordable rent. That's where we stayed. And then we moved the entire company here sort of in pieces. We have completely been here now since 2016, I think, maybe early 17, but we started moving over here in 2015. We moved, for example, some of our services are over here. GTC, local call center, does all of our work. We moved that over here from other places. And so we moved everything over here, including our persons, into Wenatchee about 6 years ago.
And that was really, now, post-pandemic, I think so many companies have realized they don't need to be in a metropolitan.
No.
To be successful in business. You can do work anywhere.
Remote
work as ever. But you guys were really doing that from the very
But
beginning.
I'll never forget the conversation. We were in the middle of reading a book called Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh, who was one of the founders of Zappos. And they talk about when they did this huge move away from a metropolitan area in California to, suburbs of Las Vegas, and what a big move that was. And Tom and I were having this conversation, and things are expensive in Seattle. It is really hard to run a business in Seattle from perspective of finances. And I said, we have a house in Wenatchee. It's a lot more affordable to live over there. We drive over every single weekend to go skiing and hiking. Like, why don't we decide to cut some costs there and move? And we're a software company. Yeah, we have a physical product, but we don't really actually have that much in terms of warehouse needs or production needs, because that's all done externally. And so why don't we just move the company here? And we did. And right now we have about 15 members on our team.
Okay.
Half live in the state of Washington. In fact, more than half actually in the state of Washington. And most of those are here in Wenatchee proper, but we have a full 6 people that live in 4 different other states.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great. We have daily meetings. We see each other talk. When we actually see each other in person, it's this crazy, like, oh, I feel like I just saw you because I literally just talked to you yesterday and I saw your face. But we live multiple states apart. So it's been great. We've been doing that hybrid remote mix. So when the pandemic hit, we're like, oh, we're totally ready for this. Like we've been doing
You were well positioned.
We were ready for it. Yeah.
Just keep business as usual.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. We didn't have any disruption there.
So let's dive into what is PetHub?
What is PetHub?
Yes, if you have not heard about this exciting local company. So now we get to tell it local.
So we are a pet database and membership service for pet parents where they can find all sorts of resources that they need to make their pets' lives better. We are most known for our digital ID tags. The digital ID tags, like this one, have a QR code on the back. They link to a free online profile for the pet that holds a ton of different information and it allows you to keep all your pet's information in one place. And then from there, we help you connect with the products and services that you need, and you can then use that information kind of as your home base, a hub for your pets. So, and a lot of people know us for these digital ID tags and getting lost pets home, which we do very well.
Let's talk about before PetHub and the unique service that you offer, how how long that process was to reunite a pet, if they even could.
Yeah. So if we talk about lost pets and lost pets getting home, prior to PetHub starting, the 2 main ways through identification that a pet would get home would be the ID tag that the pet would wear on the tag on their collar, or a microchip. Now, microchips, of course, are still around. Microchips, though, as great as they are, they're ultimate safety net. At the end of the day, there's quite a few inherent issues with microchips. You have to go to a shelter or a veterinarian to get them scanned. A lot of the data of a microchip is out of date. Up to 52%, according to the industry, is out of date. But if you talk to people at the shelter, they'll say it's more like 80% of it is out of date. And so the amount of time that it used to take a pet to get home prior to services like PetHub was on average 10 days.
And if they even made it.
If they even made it. In fact, the statistics are really daunting still. If a pet ends up in a shelter, less than 20% of dogs are getting home if they don't have identification, external identification. Now, if they have external identification, that number goes way higher. But even with microchips, it's really daunting if they don't have external identification. So our ID tag, we really changed the paradigm of the way you could think about a pet ID. Old-fashioned dumb tag, as it were, stamp metal or etched metal IDs. They can hold 1-2 pieces of information. If you go on vacation, it's got your cell phone, that's not going to help you. You can't update it unless you go buy a whole new tag. It doesn't really work with the modern
And it doesn't have necessarily your address or other information.
Or your pet sitter, or I don't know about you, but right now my cell phone's turned off, and it will be for the next few hours while I'm doing work things. My pet might get out of my backyard, I don't even know, and they're calling a number that nobody's going to pick up with. PetHub, you have an online profile where you can put your name and number and email address, your spouses or your partners or your neighbors or your mom, your dad, your pet sitter, your veterinarian, their groomer, anybody in their care circle, we call it the care circle, that can help that pet in a time of crisis can be listed, both a phone number and an email. So if a pet gets found through the PetHub system, everybody in that circle is getting notified. So we can all work together to get that pet home quickly.
Well, and it's on demand anytime, right? So if someone finds a dog at 10 p.m. at night, shelter's closed, a veterinarian's closed.
Yeah, and that's really important too, because one of the other things that people say is like, well, my dog has a rabies tag on it, and they'll just call my veterinarian. My veterinarian knows how to get a hold of me. Well, most veterinarians that I know only are open till maybe 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and they're not open on the weekends. So you're calling, you're expecting that somebody's going to call your veterinarian and get through all that information. This is available 24/7. In fact, on every single ID tag, we have a 24/7 found pet hotline number. It's right on every tag. Human beings available around the clock to answer the phone and help your pet get home. And they call down the list of phone numbers that you've provided. They send out emails and texts to everybody that's on their list, and they work to get that pet home quickly.
And I do love that call system is a local company.
It's here in Wenatchee. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because obviously companies do have to outsource different parts of their businesses around the world.
We love it that we can have
platform,
it here.
But very cool that it's
and
a
we are
company.
global, by the way.
Yeah.
We have pets protected in, I think it's 22, 23 different countries.
Wow.
In the United States alone, we help over 800 communities with their community identification program through pet licensing or regulated rabies tags. So for example, here in Wenatchee Valley Humane and the Animal Care and Control, they have a pet license that everyone should get licensed, by the way.
Okay.
But they use our PetHub ID tags.
Okay.
And we help them make that program work.
Perfect. So let's talk about that. If you're a local and you're watching and you are looking to expand your pet family, you go to the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. They just did an amazing,
incredible
adoption event.
Yeah.
I think over 100 animals were adopted.
I saw that. That was
huge.
Incredible. There's still lots of pets to adopt, though.
You don't have to pay extra for this, right?
Well, this is part of
your coming with your license.
I'm not 100% sure if that's included in your adoption fee or not. The pet license is a fee that you would pay annually. But let's break it down. Depending on if your pet is neutered or not, and whether it's a dog or a cat, the cost is anywhere from $10 to $20 as long as they are neutered, spayed, that kind of thing. If you have an unneutered spayed or neutered cat or dog, it can be a little bit more. But for $10-$20 a year, you get your pet registered, which, by the way, is the only legal proof that you have that pet belongs to you, should you get separated from them. It helps to fund everything that the Animal Care and Control team does, which the laundry list is huge. It protects your pet with the PetHub ID tag. This cat tag comes along free with that pet license.
Yeah. And then they can tap into the power of so many other products and
so many other things that we do. Exactly.
Okay. Well, we've got to head to a commercial break, but don't go too far. We'll be right back with Lorien Clemens of PetHub. All right, welcome back to Networked. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian. I have been on air with Lorien Clemens. We've been talking about PetHub, the digital ID tags, how important that is. But I know you guys are also really passionate about Loss Prevention Month.
Yes.
Which is not just a local thing. That's
it's a national thing.
National thing. What is Loss Prevention Month?
So Loss Pet Prevention Month, we started it, PetHub did back in 2014 because frankly, we were tired of the conversation being just about microchips. When, as we mentioned earlier, microchips are great, but they're not the ultimate panacea that obviously is getting every pet home because pets are still coming into shelters. So we wanted to be able to have that bigger conversation about when pets get lost, why do they get lost? How can we prevent them from getting lost? And if they do get lost, how can we be prepared as a pet parent to be able to quickly find them? So we talk about that it's a puzzle piece, that we have lots of different puzzles that we're putting, pieces in the puzzle we're putting together. We wanted to be able to have that full conversation. I mean, and not have a conversation that's just about one tool. You would never sit on a stool, for example, that only had one leg.
Right.
So
it's not going to give the support.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah. So pet identification and lost pet prevention in general needs to have multiple things. We could talk about so many metaphors, puzzles, stools, whatever. But I mean, you wouldn't deal with just one part of any other thing in your life. You know that pieces go together. So that's what we started Lost Pet Prevention about. It's gone huge. When we first started, it was just me and a couple of bloggers that I was friends with, let's get this conversation going. And now it's huge. And it's funny, we'll have companies that will say hey, PetHub, there's this thing called Lost Pet Prevention Month. Would you guys like to be part of it? We're like, well, as a matter of fact.
You started it.
We started it, so
that's
sure.
So cool. I did not realize that.
Yeah,
That's
we started it.
Really cool. Yeah. And I think that's a testament to your passion for this industry outside of your own company. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I say that this company and what we do with this company fills my love bucket. But every day I wake up excited about what do I get to do to help pets today. Yeah. And it might be to help lost pets get home. It might be to connect them with the service that they didn't know existed. It might be to introduce them to a brand new product. We were talking off.
We're talking about litter robots
and different types of litter. Yeah. And so, and because I'm so into so many aspects of the pet industry, I love being able to help pets. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that these conversations can happen and they feed the passion. Everybody at PetHub is passionate passionate about pets and helping them. Our mission is to help every family's pets stay happy, safe, and home for the rest of their lives. And that we could all rattle that off instantly because it's what we live by every day.
You're so driven by that mission. I do want to highlight, I didn't start this off. It's no surprise that you have guided PetHub to win multiple pet industry awards, including 2 Dog Fancy Magazine Editor's Choice Awards, the Pet Age Magazine Retailer Silver Select Award, 2 Pet Business Magazine Product of the Year Awards, and most recently, one of Business Insider Magazine's 50 Coolest New Businesses in America. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's fun. We recently were part of, this is the most recent one, is we were part of the LEAP cohort, which is a Mars Pet Care and Kinship, which is part of Mars, Michelson's Found Animals organization, and then RGA have something that they do every year where they pick 6 companies in the pet industry and they bring us all together, and it's really incredible thing. It's like an incubator type of thing for startups, and we were one of the 6 chosen this year to do it. It's such an honor, and it's gotten us so many incredible connections in the pet industry, but it's been fun. We literally just wrapped that up, so super fun.
That's congratulations.
Thank you.
It's really exciting, and I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but PetHub, you've been pre-COVID, especially on the ground all over the U.S.
Yeah.
Working with industry leaders.
Yeah. And our big thing is about keeping pets out of shelters, keeping them home for the rest of their lives. And if I may, like the Lost Pet Prevention Month is all about keeping pets home and keeping them out of shelters. And from our perspective, our biggest mission is let's get every pet in America with a digital ID tag. Hopefully it's a PetHub tag, a digital ID tag, because it gets pets home faster.
So we've got the digital ID tag, and that's obviously, tell me more about some of the tips in Lost Pet Prevention Month and some of the tools that are really important.
Well, we do like to think of it in terms of the puzzle pieces and that there's different parts. So one of the things, if you go to lostpetprevention.com or just go to pethub.com and you'll see where you can get our resources. Things like we have guides and how-to sheets on how to Houdini-proof your house inside and out. Literally like check boxes that you can go through and say, look at your windows, you're looking for these things. These are the escape points that you might see. And so Houdini-proofing your home, being able to be travel safe when you're traveling and all the different ways you can travel and what you need to do to prevent your pet getting missing in those situations. What you need to do in terms of training. Now I know cats necessarily can't get trained, but dogs especially, who are outside in and out all the time, getting the proper training in place. Health issues, things like anxiety and things like that can actually lead to pets going missing.
I think about 4th of July.
Oh, that's why we started it in July, was because the 5th of July is historically the single busiest day in every shelter.
Wow.
Because of all the pets that went missing on the 4th.
Because they got scared and they've run away. So really having a plan in place.
Yeah, it really is all about prevention and thinking ahead and preparing ahead. And you can literally take an hour tonight and start to go through some of the checklists that we have, and you'll already be so much better prepared should your pet go missing. Because let's be honest, though you may say, oh, my dog will never leave my side. Oh, my pet's never going to go missing, until they do.
Right.
And we have so many stories that come in from pets that we found their pet had never gone missing before. They'd never had an issue before. And then this one weird thing happened and the pet got out.
Yeah. So, and it took them off guard. And
it did, and they weren't prepared and they weren't ready
to do that. So thank you so much for coming on air.
Absolutely.
I'm having so much fun. PetHub is a local company, but you're obviously worldwide. How do people get connected with you?
Well, the easiest way, no matter where you live, is just to go to pethub.com and you'll find everything that you need here. Here locally, I'm going to say it again. Go to Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, either go online to their website or go actually down to the actual Humane Society and get your pet licensed. Every pet that's licensed get a PetHub ID tag, and it not only supports your pet and helps them get home quickly should they get lost, but it also helps support local animals.
You know, we were talking offline about how busy our Humane Society has been this year.
Yeah.
And obviously there's so many animals in need of adoption and support. So the best thing, a person who cares about animals, by licensing their pet, they're making sure that they get reunited. They don't go in the shelter system.
Yeah, it's a free ticket home. You won't have to pay the fine.
Yeah.
If your dog does get lost and goes to shelter.
There you go. That's a motivator.
There's
for
a
some
fine.
people.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's like $10 or $250. You choose type of a thing. But keeping pets that are out of the shelter is the goal. So this is the biggest deferment to going into the shelter from a lost pet perspective. 96% of PetHub recovered pets are home in 24 hours or less. More importantly, less than 2% of the pets that we get home ever have to go to a shelter.
Wow.
We get pets home before they hit the shelter doors, which, trust me, saves huge amounts of money. It saves huge amounts of stress and trauma for that pet too.
And it takes a burden off of those.
Yeah, and it allows animal care and control to help those pets, because pets aren't just coming into the shelter because they're lost. Yeah. There's a lot of reasons that a pet have to go into a shelter. So let's keep those pets out of the shelter from being lost. Right. Let's keep those guys home.
Now, if someone is watching today and their local municipality or humane society doesn't offer this, can they still use a PetHub tag?
They absolutely can use a PetHub tag. Yeah, you don't have to be in one of our communities that has a PetHub, powered by PetHub ID tag. Just go to pethub.com, click on the little shop button, and there's all sorts of things that you can purchase.
They can get a pet profile and be protected, even if it's not something that's offered over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Lorien, thank you so much
Thank
again
you
for coming on air. Congratulations on your first year as CEO.
Thank you.
Can't wait to have you back on, and maybe we'll bring another pet.
A fur, maybe your fur kid.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe when I go back into adoption, we'll have like a cat on air.
Or maybe my puppy will finally be calm enough that I can bring her on air.
I can bring her on air. Awesome. Well, don't go too far. We'll be back here in the studio to wrap up. I want to thank co-founder and CEO of PetHub, Lorien Clemens, for coming into the studio today, and all of you for tuning into our show. To connect with our friends at PetHub or any of our other nonprofit partners, I encourage you to check out the NCW Tech Alliance website. We are at ncwtech.org. There you can find information on network TV, watch previous episodes, as well as learn about more exciting technology companies like PetHub across North Central Washington. It's been so fun to be in the studio with you today, and we'll see you again next week.
Since 1999, NCW Tech Alliance has served as our regional hub for technology innovation. As a 501c3, their nonprofit mission is to connect people and technology resources to create a thriving community. You can network with the team and guests from today's show by visiting them at www.ncwtech.org.